and just push yourself to really follow all of that, you will end up with a finished song. So that might be actually a help, and will also make sure that you don't forget anything. Hey guys, welcome to the studio. The sun is already about to set. This entire day I was still taking care of taxes and like all of that like really annoying stuff. I promised you at the beginning of the week to make one video all about how to finish actually a song. Now I finally have the time to do so, and I'm an expert when it comes to finishing songs, but even more when it comes to not finishing songs. I think I've on my external hard drive like 220, 240 not finished songs. Most of them wasn't my fault, because as you know, I used to be a ghost producer for 3 years. So I had a lot of customers, they were complaining, they didn't want a song, so I started a lot of drafts. I just had to start a lot of drafts. So usually for every customer, I had to send them like 3-4 drafts, and then they picked one, and then I transformed that one into a full song. So yeah, it's not me not finishing those songs. Usually when I start something, I usually finish it, or I change it so much that it's actually a new song. But I hate having Logic projects on my hard drive that aren't used. So before we go to the list and go through all of the points, first let me give you a little bit of motivation why you should finish your songs. So first of all, a lot of producers start a song to a certain point, get stuck, start a new one, and it's always the same spot, or almost the same spot where they got stuck. For me, the first half year of music production, I only made like loops, like 8-bar loops, like maybe 16-bar loops. I never transformed them into an arrangement, a full song, something you could listen from start to finish. So that's something I had to work on. So if you don't force yourself to start to finish songs, you will never overcome these kind of problems. And once you solve one, there will be another one. Maybe then it's mixing, maybe later on mastering, maybe it's like having ear candy in there. There are millions of things you have to consider. And the even bigger part is a finished song is a song you can release. A finished song that is released is an opportunity. It's like playing the lottery, and the more songs you release, the higher the chances that one of them might actually blow up and like turn your hobby into a career. If you don't finish the songs, if you don't release the songs, that's it. Nothing will ever happen. Nothing. Like all of the time you put into making music without the release of the song, nothing will move for you. You won't get better singer-songwriters, you won't get any gigs, you won't get any customers that want your music or want you to produce for them. It just won't happen. You have to get that stuff out there. So I hope this is enough. I think it's something pretty obvious, but a lot of people forget it. Every single time you put a project aside, all of the time wasted, all of that possible opportunities that might otherwise occur, gone. So let's start with the checklist. I think the very first one is make sure that everything you can't do yourself is done by the other people involved. So if you're collaborating with another producer, make sure his parts are ready. If you're collaborating with a singer-songwriter, make sure they send you the stems and that they are all correct and that there are no mistakes left in there. Because once you start producing, or once you're further into the production and things are not working and you have to ask them to redo it, then you're dependent on them. So you finishing your song depends on someone else, and we all know people in the music industry are not the most reliable. So for example, for me, if I start a vocal song, I don't really even start producing unless I have the full finished vocal all ready to go. If you have a guitar player, make sure the guitar playing is done. Everything, like all of the material you need to complete, make sure it's there up front. This also will pressure you a lot more, because if everyone else involved already delivered, it's your turn to deliver. I've never actually not finished a song when this was the case. So yeah, pressure, again, it's important. The second thing you should then check is it a full song? Are there enough elements in there? Not too many elements in there. Is there a clear structure? Is the arrangement like is there an arrangement even? You need an intro, you need a verse, a chorus. If it's a club track, it's more like breaks and drops. You need to be able to listen from start to finish, and you should listen from start to finish multiple times, like at least 10, 12 times. And every time, like, have a sheet of paper next to you and write down what's still missing, write down what's bothering you, and then go through that list and do this over and over and over again until you don't know what to do with the song and it really sounds to you finished. Then you repeat the same, but not you listening to the song. You let someone else listen to the song. Best like 2-3 people, and people that are like not friends, not your girlfriend, not your mom, someone else that is also actually producing music. That's how you get the best feedback. They will be able to tell you, hey, the bass is maybe 2-3 to be too loud. Your mom will just say, oh, that's nice, good song. And that's like not really worth anything. So once you get that all checked, like the arrangement is there, all of the elements are there, the next task to finish is then the mixing stage. And the mixing stage can be like a loop in itself. Sometimes you raise the kick by 1 dB, listen to it somewhere else, and then lower it again and like do this all over again. For example, back in the days, I used to lower the kick by 1-2 dB, but then like the vocals were maybe too loud, lowered them, and then I lowered the shaker. So at the end, I lowered everything and it was back to where I started. And this usually means that you have to go back a couple of steps. You didn't select the right sounds, you didn't select the right samples to use, the sound design is off, maybe the song isn't working musically, maybe something is clashing, you just need to go back. That's usually a sign of the mixing takes way too long. If you then get to a stage where the mixing is all fine, you have to go back to sending it to friends, get feedback again until there are no more mistakes, also not in the mixing, everything is nice and fine. And then the next step is mastering, which is something I would recommend to let someone else do it, not you yourself. If you just want to master it a little to send it out to a label, that's totally fine. But if it's like for the final finished release, I would actually hand it over to someone else just to have someone to double check. And there are a million more things, like these are just the rough things you need to check. There's like, how was it recorded? Is the mic setup the right one? Did you EQ every single track, or at least consider if it needs EQing? Low cutting on every single one. Compression is not needed on every single track, but consider it. If it's needed, use it. On vocals, raw vocals, 100%. On a drum loop that you sampled already, maybe not, because it's already compressed heavily. Mid-side EQing, then stereo image, like panning things, making things wide, leaving them narrow, like spreading them in this entire sphere where you can like listen to stuff. I made like a nice graph for this a couple of months ago. And then also while mixing the frequency distribution, also here there's a PDF that I actually made. Then checking for clicks, for like mouth noises in the vocal, maybe clicks that are like in samples that you didn't cut correctly, you need to fade them in, fade them out. Is the automation correct? Is there even automation? Is there enough automation? Is it interesting enough? The transitions between verse and chorus and all these kind of things, like to transition from one part to another, it needs to be smooth, it needs to sound natural. There's actually so much. I've been preparing a checklist for you. This took quite a long while where every detail is listed, and you can get it as a free download if you're interested. The first link in the description. It's really something that I think will help you, because that's like basically if you just follow all of that and just push yourself to really follow all of that, you will end up with a finished song. So that might be actually a help, and will also make sure that you don't forget anything, because it can really happen that you work on the song and I don't know, you have your main vocal stereo and like you listen to it and you don't recognize it, and then eventually you release it and then you recognize it, and then it's too late. It's like really song to get it back and change it. Like with digital stuff it's possible, but really annoying. Back in the days with physical copies, no way. That was basically it. So yeah, if you're interested for the full checklist, click down below. It will also provide you with those 2 graphs I was talking about, how to like distribute the frequencies, and also the one that makes sure that you know where to place it in the stereo image. So have fun with it. I hope this helps you to finish your next song. I think the rest and the biggest part actually is the mental part about it, like just pushing, forcing yourself and making yourself to finish the song. Even if you like start producing it and you get to a point where you think it's not good enough or it's not a hit, then if you're still in the training phase, maybe still finish it, because you will learn a lot. If you always just produce half a song, once you maybe have an idea that might be a hit, then the other part is missing. You don't know how to do the second half of the song. So always try to get them as far as possible. And I personally always decide at the very beginning if it's good or not good. I work like 4 or 5 hours, just the draft, just the melodies. If it's then not good, I just delete it. If it's good, I finish it until the end. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments if it helped and what you're actually struggling with the most when it comes to finishing songs. Like which of the parts is the one where you always get stuck. Maybe someone else in the community has an idea. Maybe I have an idea. I will try to respond to as many people as possible. See you tomorrow again here in the studio for another full daily vlog of my life as a DJ and producer.
So just a memory.